So I wanted to welcome Jacqueline down lower part of the screen. Wave your hands. They are Jan and Jacqueline are newlyweds,
Oh,
and
Right.
so they had a wonderful service out by a lock and dam on the Red River. They had boats and guitars and painting. You could paint,
wow.
play chess. It was a great party. We
Food was
had a
great.
wonderful time.
It was fun.
We had someone amazing do the service too.
You can tell people that the guy who did your service made Time magazine for doing your own services. I did the photo was on the cover, and I was on the back pages.
I have a copy of it.
Yep. So,
I have a copy.
so for those of you who are just joining us, I'm really excited about what we're doing because I've never done this coherently. So trying to pull together some different approaches to begin to attune us to our bodies. And the importance of this comes from a reading. I think that Ajna gave this to me at one point, and it really turned my whole practice around. It says in an early Theravada Buddhist meditation text, the phrase touching enlightenment with the body, touching enlightenment with the body is used to describe the attainment of ultimate spiritual realization. It's interesting, if a bit puzzling, that we are invited not to see enlightenment, but to touch it, not with our thought or our mind, but with our bodies. What can this possibly mean? In what way can the body be thought to play such a central and fundamental role in the life of meditation? This question becomes all the more interesting and compelling in our contemporary context when so many people are acutely feeling their own personal disembodiment and finding themselves strongly drawn to somatic practices and therapies of all kinds. My sense is there's a very real problem among Western meditation practitioners. We're attempting to practice meditation and to follow a spiritual path in a disembodied state. And therefore, our practice is doomed to failure. And I'd modify that. That's a little extreme. Not doomed to failure, but not going to be as deep and profound as it possibly could be. How's that? The full benefits and fruition of meditation cannot be experienced or enjoyed when we're not grounded in our bodies. The phrase from the early text, when understood fully, implies not only that we are able to touch enlightenment with our bodies, that we must do so. That in fact there is no other way to touch enlightenment except in and through our bodies. For most of us, and for most of modern culture, the body is principally seen as the object of our ego agenda, the donkey for the efforts of our ambitions. The donkey is going to be thin. The donkey is going to feel young. The donkey is going to work 18 hours a day. The donkey is going to help me fulfill my needs, and so on. All that is necessary is the right technique. There is no sense that the body might actually be more intelligent than me, my precious self, and my conscious ego. That's an amazing thing to begin to live with for those of us. There was a school teacher who asked her kids to do an assignment on what is your body for? And their answer was to move my head from room to room. And that's kind of the way most of us experience it. And when my teacher gave me an assignment to feel my feet on the floor, I had the assignment for 3 years. I really didn't understand what it was about, and I didn't understand it until I read this. I just thought he was trying to get me to be aware of my feet, but he was really inviting me to start inhabiting my body. So we're doing a series of exercises that are beginning to attune us to our inner senses. So we talked last week about the five outer senses, which we're familiar with, but as we're beginning to look at physiology and able to see deeper and deeper, we can now see that we have a vestibular sense, which is an inner sense from your inner ear, which is your sense of balance. You have a proprioceptive sense, which is in your fascia, which lets you know where you are in space. And that's an amazing sense that we have, actually a superpower. Then you have interoception. These are the things that tell you when your bladder's full, when your stomach hurts, those kind of internal sensings of your heartbeat, your lungs. And then there's nociception, which is your sense of pain, inner pain, not the outer sense of pain. So as we begin to attune, not the outside world, because it's interesting that part of the eight limbs of yoga is to begin to turn inward, to shut off the outer senses and to begin to attune yourself to the inner senses. And that in some ways is what we're doing. We'll reconnect later on with the outer world. But most of us need to cultivate this interior sense. Now, why? Because when you think about the physiology of what's happening, these internal senses, any sense that you have, is where you experience the energy around you. So what's happening is you have energy. Now, for those who are new with my teaching, whenever I say energy, I mean spirit. These words are synonymous in most languages. Prana, chi, ki, spirit are all related to energy. So when you have the energy or spirit from the outside hit your body, it translates into a sense of something. So your senses are the way that you experience the spiritual world. It then translates that, as Walt Whitman says, and I Sing the Body Electric, into electric realization in you. As Pam was saying in the poem, I begin to dissolve the sense of separation between me and the world gets obliterated once that connection gets profoundly established, if that makes any sense. I'm now consciously aware of that connection. Now, the awareness is what's so important. The Danish theologian Søren Kierkegaard had a thing that said, if you go out and you experience a sunrise and you say, wow, that was really beautiful, he says you've had an aesthetic experience, but you haven't had a spiritual experience. So what makes it a spiritual experience? It makes it a spiritual experience when ego lets go of it, okay? And begins to see that I'm experiencing my oneness with all of life through this sunset, okay? I'm experiencing God would be the traditional way of saying it. So we're recovering that kind of sense of connection through our body with the nature around us. Animals have it, very deep responses to the world around us. Native American trackers were said to be able to sense weather movements and movements of herds 50 miles away by plugging into the energy around them. Native herbalists were able to tell the medicinal value of plants by listening to them. So this reading suggests that our bodies have a wisdom. And think about, let's jump to neuroscience for a minute. Your body processes 20 million bits of information a second unconsciously. All right, this is your conditioned mind, your body mind. Your conscious mind processes 128 bits of information. not 128 million, 128 bits. That 128 bits is very enamored of itself, and it's what's creating all the sense of separation to everything around you. The 20 million bits is intimately connected with the energy around you. So we're tapping in not only to the intelligence of the body, which is digesting your food for you, getting oxygen to it, regenerating cells, doing all that kind of stuff without your awareness. I would call that relatively intelligent. It's the part of your mind that when you have a car wreck gets you in position so that you don't get as hurt as you could, stops time, gives you space. Tremendous intelligence. It is plugged into the intelligence of the universe. So what we're doing in plugging into this energy is availing ourselves of that connection. So it's not something we're doing to feed our egos. It's not something that uh, uh, we're doing as a part of a search for some experience that's supernatural. What we're doing is relaxing into an enjoyment of life that is much richer. And if you think about what mindfulness meditation claim, it doesn't claim to take you anywhere supernatural. It says you're going to learn the significance of moments. You're going to actually learn to be in the present moment and experience it in more depth. All right. So when you're relaxing in a hot bath and that warmth hits your senses and you feel your body begin to melt and let go, that's a spiritual experience. Uh, there's a poem that I love by Anne Sexton, and she says, "God, who is all spirit, envies us our bodies. He'd like nothing more than to take a hot bath and smoke a good cigar." So this is when it's on earth, when it says we're becoming incarnate, spirit is delighting in creation through our bodies. Are you present for that? That's the invitation. It's delighting. God is enjoying life through your body. Why not join her? So let's go ahead and get started. Assume whatever position you're going to do for this meditation. Yes, please. So allow yourself to settle into this moment. Allowing yourself to let go of thinking, trying to create an experience. Not resisting anything. Just an allowing. Allowing whatever is present internally or externally to simply unfold. As much as possible, stay present for that unfolding. Anchoring yourself in the breath. Using the sensations of the breath to keep you in the present moment. The body is always in the present. And for those of you who are beginning meditators, this may be all that you do, is to stay anchored in the breath, which is fundamental to all the practices afterwards. If you're feeling anxious, you can use the 4-8 breath, 4 counts on the inhale, 8 on the exhale, which will increase your nitric oxide, calm you down. If you're feeling sleepy, reverse that. 8 on the inhale, 4 on the exhale. And we're going to do a classic part of Yoga Nidra called the 61 points, where I'm going to invite you to move around to parts of your body and let your awareness rest there. And what we know is that where awareness goes, energy goes. And as awareness meets the energy, both begin to flow more freely. So begin by resting your awareness at the brow center. And then follow me as we move around to other points in the body. You may not sense anything. Some areas may feel dead, some may feel intense. The point is not to engineer an experience, but simply experience what's there, already present. Awareness resting at the brow center, the pit of the throat, the right shoulder, the right elbow, the right palm, the right thumb, right index finger, right middle finger, right ring finger, right pinky, right palm, right elbow, right shoulder, pit of the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left palm, left thumb, left index finger, left middle finger, left ring finger, left pinky, left palm, left elbow, left shoulder, pit of the throat, heart center, right side of the body, heart center, left side of the body, heart center, solar plexus, pubic bone, right hip, right knee, right foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, foot, right knee, right hip, right pubic bone, left hip, left knee, left foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, left foot, left knee, left hip, pubic bone, solar plexus, heart chakra, pit of the throat, coming to rest at the third eye. And resting in the third eye, Begin to use the power of the mind to activate senses in the body. So not striving to create an experience. Imagine your body, your whole body becoming light. As though your whole body could float away from the floor towards the ceiling. The head is light and weightless. The limbs are light and weightless. The torso is light and weightless. The whole body light and weightless. Sense that you're rising higher and higher away from the floor. And now imagine your body becoming heavy. Feel the heaviness in all parts of your body. Your body becoming heavier and heavier. The limbs are heavy. Torso is heavy. The whole body so heavy that it's sinking into the floor. And now awaken the experience of cold in the body. Imagine being outside in winter without enough clothing. Feel the chill permeating your whole body. The whole body experiencing the chilly cold. And now allow the sensations of warmth to spread throughout the entire body. Remembering being outside in the heat of summer with no shade. the radiant heat penetrating your skin, the heat sinking deep into the whole body. And now remember an experience of anxiety, a time of intense anxiety and worry. And allow this feeling of anxiety and stress to permeate your body, not concentrating on its source, but on the energy of anxiety in the body. Using your memory to experience anxiety as clearly as possible as energy in the body. And now allow the feeling of deep calm to envelop you. Time when you felt safe, grounded, connected, worthy. Again, feeling the energy of calm in your mind, your body, relaxed and aware. Your whole being completely calm. And now let go of visualizations and bring your awareness back to your brow center. Here, there's nothing to do or achieve. You're entering a domain of grace, simply witnessing everything that is happening, allowing yourself to feel as safe and comfortable as possible as you hand over your fears and allowing yourself to enter the domain of trust and faith. Letting your whole being merge and melt effortlessly into the sanctuary of silence, allowing your whole being to respond effortlessly to my words. Returning to the innate wisdom of your body as you rest in this, embracing what's present, not grasping or pushing away. Your body's light, your mind at peace, your heart unconditionally open. Receive the grace, protection, and guidance of the higher self within you and around you. The more you enter this tranquil place, the easier it is to stay and return here. You're an emissary of light and love. Carry it with you everywhere you go and share it with everyone you meet. Alrighty, sports fans. Remember to unmute yourself when you want to talk. So this is our place for sharing joys, sorrows, things we liked. I don't want to hear about what you didn't like. Questions.
I first encountered that almost same exact meditation only in a book called Psycho-Cybernetics back in 1970. One of my teachers gave that to me, and it affected me back then. I mean, I did it not as a meditation, but as just an exercise. They gave you exercises to do.
Right. Yeah. What was the name? Baltz?
I think so. I can't remember who wrote that.
I think it was Psycho-Cybernetics. Yeah. So one of the things I want to point you towards is how many of you were able to sense the way your body responded to suggestion of sensing warmth and heat. Okay.
The opposites.
And the opposites. All right. So when we talk about the power of the mind, this is fundamental to what we're calling glimmers. So glimmers are the opposite of triggers. Triggers are something in the environment triggers your brain to go back to the part that was traumatized and bring that trauma forward into the present. Well, your brain doesn't automatically do glimmers unless you've got something on your phone that says this day in 2020 you were at Pompano Beach.
It does pull up memories.
It pulls up memories and you go back. It brings it into the present, but they're positive. So with a glimmer, you're bringing back memories of those places that you've been when life felt transparent to the sacred. And the more vividly you can remember the sights, the sounds, your senses become an ally to anchoring you in these places where you were ventral, to use, again, neuroscience, in that place where you felt naturally compassionate, naturally enthusiastic, and playful and curious.
And you were present,
fully
which
present.
is why your body and mind remember.
Right.
Because you were present. Maybe there was a smell, because your sense of smell is remembers those significant moments, and brings them back to you. That's almost like a trigger, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. So
Yeah.
these are your brain has what we call the negativity bias, which means it is Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive. So if you're not doing something to bring those positive memories forward, your life is going to feel negative. But it's the same way. I start my morning with glimmers, with gratitude, because part of the reason we feel bad is we think about what we don't have, not what we do have. And gratitude has been found to trigger dopamine. And even if you don't find anything to be grateful for, you still get a jolt of dopamine just looking for something to be grateful for. I find that fascinating. But the other thing is to look for your worthiness. We beat ourselves up continually, and we have to bring things positive forward about ourselves. So this is just the same as brushing your teeth or doing your lymphatic drainage or taking your steps, is to train your brain not only stay in the present, but to stay anchored in the positive, that's just as real. So back to our stuff about equanimity, it's not saying that this is really real, because my experience of trauma was really real too, but it's the balance of sour and sweetness that makes life livable. So one, too much, it's all good is Pollyannish and not true. It's all bad. Chicken Little, the end is coming is not true either, because there's sweetness, as Viktor Frankl pointed out, even in concentration camps, people found flowers to look at and generous acts that gave them hope. So
my youngest son sent me a picture this week. Some of you from my generation will remember. He sent me a picture of Avon Skin So Soft, which was in the 70s or 80s or 90s. In his case, the remedy for mosquitoes. And it had a particular scent. And he sent me the picture. He said, I can still remember the smell of this stuff. Of course, I go back and find my bottle of it, which I still have. But yeah, those little glimmers, which made me smile at a kind of a tough moment I was having. So that was fun.
Yeah, go smell the skin so soft.
Yeah, there you go.
Pull you back ventral. What else? Anybody else? Okay, so in moving through your body, did you find there were some areas you couldn't connect with?
The fourth toe is a hard one.
I have trouble with my toes too. My second and third toe, I still have trouble distinguishing between them. It's just kind of a blob of something down there. But how many of you were able to do that and move around in your body and actually connect?
I had a particular response on the light and the heavy. I could feel a lot. My body responded to that cue, light and heavy, big time. I wasn't real happy. I was like, no, not heavy. Stop saying heavy. No, stop. I want to be light again.
Okay, which brings us into awareness of our judgmental mind that wants to prefer one of those states to the other.
That ego jumped right in. Yeah. But it's amazing to me.
Yes.
From heavy to light, pretty instantly.
Yeah. Which is suggesting that your mind is influencing a lot of what you're experiencing today. Which is why I say you need to be very careful about the thoughts that you let linger, because they are impacting your body. And the reason you're not aware of it is because you're disconnected from your body. So you can sit and run horrific scenarios through your brain, let your monkey mind run crazy, and it's as if those horrible things were actually happening. You can see that. I think about warmth, my body starts feeling warm. Well, if I'm anticipating a horrific outcome in my day, those things are being activated in your neural pathways. It's a form of self-hate.
Yes.
And
Expectation.
it's not that you're bad for doing that. Your brain does that. As Jack Kornfield says, getting mad at your brain for doing this is like getting mad at your kidneys for producing urea. It's what it's designed to do, but it was never designed to take over your life. In more primitive cultures, people spend most of their time ventral because they're singing, they're dancing, they're in nature, they're walking, they're doing activities they love and enjoy. We live in a state of perpetual terror, and and then we wonder, why don't I ever have any energy? Oh, gee, my body hurts. Well, it's because you're dumping toxic stress hormones in your body every time you run these scenarios. So I love the fact that the stuff that it takes to get out of it feels so good. And you really begin to see it. If I know I could go in the other room, meditate, and feel good, then keeping myself in a state of anxiety, locked in my room, is a form of self-hate. Does that make sense? Not
Yes.
going to a meeting when I know if I go to a meeting, I'll come away feeling better. Why don't I go to a meeting? See what I'm saying?
Richard Miller says, to practice these types of things in this guided meditation in any position, lying down, sitting, standing up, walking, so that inevitably then when life comes calling in whatever position you're in, you can touch that when you need it.
So this is part of what we mean by inhabiting your body. Are you sensing it? Are you aware as you move through your day? What's going on in my feet? What's going on in my butt? What's going on in my gut?
I was thinking about years ago when our kids were young, we had a rule in our house. If you came home in a bad mood, and it didn't matter if it was me or my husband or my son William or my youngest Simone, or even sometimes if my mom came over, if you came to my house in a bad mood, anybody could say, Glasper family dance party. And you had to dance, even if you were still, and I very clearly remember somebody pulling it on me. I think it was William. And I very clearly remember, and I was pissed. I had every reason to be. I came in from work super pissed, and I danced pissed off. But Dad, I know you remember me telling you about this.
Yes.
That you
Wow.
force each other to dance. And I don't know why I'm making that connection. I just am.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of wisdom in that.
Wow.
Way
The
to shift.
connection is just making me smile right now, and I remember the connection. So my body must have that memory, and you just triggered it again. So next time I come home, when I'm going like, oh, this is not working, or I'm pissed off, I'm going to remember the memory that I had that I'm laughing about it right now. Because really, that's what I want to do. That's really what I want to do. I don't
Well,
want
I remember a quote. It's not a quote. I just remember somebody saying
Wow.
not too long ago, it's pretty hard to be in a bad mood if your favorite song is on.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah.
That's why I say, get your top 5 loaded to where you punch a button to hear it first thing in the morning.
Exactly.
Yep. I can see clearly now.
I
The
know.
rain is gone.
Tiffany's been sending
Yes.
little examples of music, which
Yeah.
I have. I didn't send you a selection last weekend.
it's lovely.
Clap along if you
I
feel
know.
like happiness is the
I
truth.
know. I pulled up one for Bart yesterday, and John Baptiste has a
Oh,
new album out
yes.
called Beethoven.
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
he's absolutely
God,
extraordinarily
he
brilliant.
is.
And
And
when
oh,
Julie, and he takes Beethoven
yes.
classical music and morphs it into something incredible like uh, uh, gospel or blues, or I mean, just by his add-ons and style.
He's such an interesting and intriguing person. And his wife is,
Yeah.
wow, she is so cool.
So if you
Anyway.
can access that, pull that up. Beethoven Blues.
Yes.
Eeh.
So, okay, anybody else about where we're going? I need feedback. Is this stuff you want to continue exploring, or you find it useful, challenging? Um,
Yes, is the answer to that.
It's useful, it's challenging.
It's
I
all the
like it, I
things.
hate it. Do more.
And I say it's easier for me as I think about it to go to the tense holding inward. There's that phrase that comes to me, the devil you know, or
yep.
comfortable with the devil you know than the angel you don't. And the more I do this, I can become comfortable with that angel space and not have to cling to the the devil tightness that I know.
Mm.
And that is, did you have
Rick Hansen, isn't it, in his
Yeah.
book on brain,
Buddha's brain?
Buddha's brain talks about replacing, that it is possible to rewire the
That's
brain,
what we're doing.
and that's what we're doing. We're replacing those negative, whatever you want to call them, moments with positive, with glimmers.
Right, because that's the space I know. So that's the space I'm comfortable with.
That's where you're going to.
Point is to become comfortable with another space so I can move to that with less fight, with less pushback. Yeah.
So one thing you're saying, Cherry, that I think is worthy of note is that you learn the truth of the teachings in your body.
Mm.
So someone can sit and tell you that you become comfortable and addicted to stress hormones until you actually begin to land in them and notice that I feel more comfortable being here than I do when I get out and I'm feeling light and playful and start dreading that something bad is going to happen, although I can't identify what it is. So the more connected we are, that you learn that these aren't just somebody's ideas. That really you can go inward, and it is a science, people. It's not as fluffy as we thought it was. So these Eastern practitioners are really people who learned how to move themselves around in their brain to get to a particular kind of experience, and it works. I mean, their psychology is over 2,000 years old, and why would we want to stay with psychologies that are just a couple of hundred years old? There's much more profound stuff going on here that we're availing ourselves of now. I'm really grateful that the world has become one world in terms of information, and we can benefit from these explorations and teachings.
Well, it's a tool.
I thought it was interesting the other day when I was in a building that housed a lot of mental health types, and not a lot. There's not, it's Paonia, we only have a few of everything, but there was a handout in the literature portion of the waiting room. And this handout was about responding to your kids' feelings. And it wasn't the old I message. It was using some of the things that we've talked about. And it gave an example of a boy getting a bad grade on a test and feeling bad. And the mother's responding and ask what he was feeling, where he was feeling it, and explaining, yeah, you might feel that way for a while. Feelings are like clouds. They come and go. So it was kind of, yeah, it was kind of all along the, yeah, it's kind of changing the conversation with kids these
Yeah.
days. I thought it was nice. And I feel blissed out, so I hope we continue with this.
Yeah, it's that Judith Lassiter quote. Oh, how human of me
Yeah.
to feel
Yeah.
blank. Yeah.
But I never remember telling kids, well, feelings are like clouds. They come and they go, and you won't. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice.
Very good.
I will say for me, it helps to, I've been doing some study, the physiology behind it is very helpful for me to understand that this is not in my head, in a sense that it's all there, that there's a physiology, there's a biochemical, there's a evolutionary, all of this is part of this, and it leads me to acceptance instead of judgment, and to be able to move then into these spaces.
And don't forget to add environmental component,
Yes,
because
all of that. Yeah.
trying to get peaceful in an abusive relationship is kind of counterproductive. Can be done. So,
It can be done.
Omi, what did we find? We found another amazing statistic of how much nitric oxide is increased when you own.
When you own. Beneficial owning activates the vagus nerve. It's how I go to sleep at night. And it works. All right. Deep breath in.
My doggo.
Don't bother me. I'm going to be
over here
for the rest of my life. I'm too busy. So don't bother me anymore. I'm going to be happy all over. Goodbye. Goodbye. I might talk to you again. I might not. I'm too happy, so don't bother me.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do. What's going to happen? I don't know.
Hope to see you next week.
Thank you all.
I want to be all blissed out.
Have a good week.
Love
Bye-bye.
you all. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Jan,
Bye, Woody.
don't leave. And
Bye, Sandy.
okay, good.